This is Mousehole, a small fishing town deep in the south of Cornwall. A tiny place with a mere population of just under 700 people. However, despite its inconspicuous size, it has a mighty large reputation. And all because of this gentleman right here. No, not him holding the picture, that's me. The man on the picture is who we're looking for. There we go, that's better. This is Tom Bawcock, the man at the centre of the Mousehole legend. It starts in the autumn time, when a storm set in with no intention of leaving any time soon. It left the men of the town grounded to the harbour walls and unable to get their small boats out to sea to catch any fish. Many attempts were made, and all were in vain. The storm smashed the boats to pieces of floating timber. These images are not of the event, however, they certainly represent what the local women and children would have seen from the harbour, as the men of the town desperately tried over and over to get out to sea. Today, the waters are much calmer. As I sat looking over the harbour, I tried to visualise the struggle of the ambitious men in their attempts to battle with the storm. It's been debated when this all happened and when Tom was alive. Some say it was way back in the 16th century. However, the storybook written by Antonio Barber in the 90s gives a more Victorian look and feel to it. I decided to take a walk up to the house where Tom Bawcock supposedly lived. This was to try and get a closer look to determine a more accurate date of when old Tom once roamed the streets of Mousehole and lived here in the town. Unfortunately though, after multiple attempts, there was no answer, and all the footage we could get was the exterior of the house. All was not lost though on our escapade to try and better judge when Tom was alive by using the house. Looking at the architecture of this house and many other buildings in the town, it's easy to place it somewhere between the early 1600s and the early 1700s. But after more research, new information came to light. The invasion of the Spaniards. In the summer of 1595, Mousehole experienced a brutal attack from the Spanish. Carlos de Mesquita and his force of 400 men stormed the town and carried on their rampage as far as Penzance. They razed the coastal towns to the ground, and in Mousehole, leaving only this building standing, the former Kegrin Arms, the local pub of Mousehole, which was defended by the owner, Squire Jenkin Kegrin, until the end. This of course means that if Tom was around in the 1500s, like some sources make out, there is no proof to show it, as his house would have been destroyed in the invasion and any town documents with it. So it's still up for debate which decade, or in fact which century, Tom's story took place. One fact though remains clear: whether it was 1550 or 1850, the boats fishermen would have used would have been very similar. Small fishing vessels hadn't changed much since the Viking Age. With some more advanced boats having sails, this was as modern as the technology got. This meant that there were no match for the storms that battered the coast, and even in modern day, with modern ships, disaster can strike.
Land's End Coast Guard loaded. Land's End Coast Guard. Union Star, going Land's End Coast Guard. Union Star, this is Thomas Coast Guard. Over.
Some may remember when the Solomon Brown and Union Star went down. On December 19, 1981, the Penny lifeboat was sent out to rescue the coast ship just off Wolf Rock.
Yes, we're off. Approximately now 8 miles east of Wolf Rock. Engines have stopped, and we are unable to get them started at the moment.
The Union Star was on a fast and dangerous path towards the rocks, and the Penny lifeboat crew were given the order to deploy. Despite the rescue helicopter being first on the scene, they had to make for land, as conditions were too dangerous to fly in, leaving the Solomon Brown on its own. The Solomon got 4 of the crew from the Union and came in for another attempt for the rest.
We got 4 men off at we got 4 off at the moment. Playing bail up here now. There's 2 left on board. Penley Lifeboat, Farmers Coast Guard, I understand you have 4 off and you say there's 2 left on board, ever? Penley Lifeboat, Farmers Coast Guard, ever?
Along the coast, bits of wreckage, whilst this was the largest piece of her to be recovered.
Both ships went down.
By now, the Sea King helicopters were braving all conditions just to rescue the dead, winching them back to the quayside of their village.
With none of either crew surviving.
We started to find bits and pieces of bodies. We only found one whole body.
All crew members lost their lives from both vessels, with only 8 of the 16 bodies being found. 4 from the Union Star and 4 from the Solomon Brown. The lifeboat station was left as it was the night the Solomon went down, and a memorial garden was set up next to the station in memory of the brave men. As you can imagine, with such basic boats that fishermen in Tom's time would have used, a storm even half as bad as what the Solomon and Union Star were caught in would have been extremely destructive. Tom realised something when sitting at home one night. He was an old man now. His sons and daughters had moved away and his wife had been long at rest, unlike the young fishermen of the town who had been risking their lives to get out to sea. He thought it unfair for something to happen to them, and with 2 days until Christmas, he couldn't bear to see the town starve, so he felt it his duty to try and go out himself. With the lamp left in the window to light the walk down to the harbour, he set off down the path to his boat. Amazingly, Tom had made it out of the harbour and to the fishing grounds. He spent hours catching what he could whilst battling a heavy downpour of rain, immense winds and unpredictable waves. Despite the multiple problems getting the nets out and fighting against the atrocious weather conditions, he was able to get a decent catch, a whole boatload in fact. Meanwhile, back in Mousehole, the town had awoken. Word began to spread of Tom's disappearance, and with his boat not in the harbour, they knew what he had done. The men ran down to the harbour with lanterns to look out for Tom's boat in the distance, and the women ran back to the homes to light candles in the windows to try and light up the whole town as a beacon so Tom could see his way home. Hours passed by as everyone waited anxiously, and when they began to give up hope, Tom's boat appeared in the distance. Astonishingly, he had made it back home. The town celebrated all night, cooking as many fish dishes as they possibly could to feed everyone, and Tom's bravery was celebrated. Even to this day, Tom Bawcock's Eve is held on the 23rd of December every year, including a procession through the town, the switching on of the Mousehole lights, and endless amounts of stargazy pie, the symbol of Tom Bawcock's Eve. And that is the story of Tom Bawcock, the legend of Mousehole.
Every place you may believe was Mousehole on Tom Bawcock's Eve, to be the dead